So here's part two, and you can see that the sun has come out. Um, let's see. Uh, this is a question I got from quite a few schools, and I'm really happy to be talking about it because I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. This is from Mrs. Meyer's class, her two sections in Ontario, Canada. What was it like for you to go through the process being an alien and becoming an American citizen? Did you feel like Stella did? Um, I did. I really did feel like Stella. I, uh, it's such a tricky subject to talk about because uh, I am really happy to have my American citizenship, but the whole process of getting it is so long. And when I was just an alien, the term always bothered me, and it made me a little nervous because the fear of would we have to move back to Mexico? And I think a lot of kids can relate to that. And I think um, everyone, whatever your status is in the United States, should feel welcome and not feel like you're going to secretly get in trouble. And so I just wanted to let other kids know that I felt like that, and I empathize with their situation. Now, from Miss Farrell's class and her fabulous third graders in South St. Paul, Minnesota, does Stella turn roja or red for real? I do blush really easily, so I will turn completely red when I'm nervous. And sometimes I'm not even nervous and it happens and then I start getting nervous. It doesn't happen as much now, but I definitely have experienced that. Let's see. From Mrs. Cool's class at Eagle Heights Public School in Ontario, is the name Stanley someone that you know? So Stanley's like a mixture of a couple people that I know. It's more just like he's a complete opposite from Stella. He seems to have such an easy time making friends that he can just talk to whoever and seems confident and just friendly. And as someone who's shy, that's something that I really admired and wish I was like. And so I wanted to have that character there so that you could kind of feel what Stella was feeling of wanting to be like that desperately. And then on top of that, just wanting a new friend too. Let's see. From Miss Maggie Van Aken's class, the students wanted to know in the second Stella book, will there be another new kid? So, not to give too much away, but in the second book, she goes to summer camp. So, she's meeting a lot of other new kids, and everyone's kind of new to the group. So, there will be more of that. From the students at Oshkosh, Wisconsin, in Miss Jacqueline's class, Priscilla wanted to know, why did you decide to let the reader know about Stella's dad further into the book? That's another great question. So I think the thing about her dad bothers Stella because this is very similar to my own relationship with my dad. But he doesn't come into her everyday life. So when I'm trying to introduce Stella to the reader, I wanted to start with the stuff that was like the everyday stuff, her mom, Nick, her class. And then when we're starting to get into a place where maybe she's a little bit more vulnerable or sensitive, where she feels insecure at speech class, I thought I would bring up the other thing that she feels insecure about, and that's her dad. Miss Melissa Hayes' class, have you ever written a picture book? So I've written quite a few. I started just writing picture books. So I started illustrating, then I started writing picture books. and then this is my first time writing what we call middle grade, and I love doing these type of books so much. Mr. Swanson's class in Washington, how do you get your books published? So I work with a publisher, and they're the ones that print and make the books. I work with an editor and an art director, and we work on it for several months until it's perfect, and then they sell it in the bookstore a few months later. I really like this question from Miss RT's class at Reedmont Elementary, Washington, who helped me make the book. So a lot of people did. My mom read the book a few times. I had other friends like my friend Mary, my friend Ruth read it a few times. Of course, my editor Connie helped quite a bit, and then my agent Linda really helped me with when I was trying to make it a longer book. So I really think writing is a team effort, and it's really great to get feedback. From Miss Sprinkle's third grade class in Troutman Elementary School in Troutman, North Carolina, why did you choose to have Jenny Vietnamese culture, and have you tried lychee candy? I have tried lychee candy. So my best friend growing up, Mimi, is a lot of the inspiration for Jenny, and Mimi is Vietnamese, and she would often bring me lychee candy to school, so that was just like a fun, like, real life detail. From Miss Fitzsimmons' class in Janesville, Wisconsin, when did you save your dog? We rescued Petunia about 2.5 months ago, and it's been the greatest thing to have her. I just love that dog so much. And it doesn't seem like she came from the greatest home, so just seeing her every day get happier and more confident and, you know, standing up and trying to protect us, it's just the cutest thing in the entire world, and I can't wait to see where she is in a year from now. From Mrs. Kennedy's second grade class in Middleton, Massachusetts, is it hard to be an author? From Caroline. It is, you know, it's so much fun, and sometimes because it's so much fun, it doesn't feel like work, but, you know, you get writer's block. Sometimes you just don't know where to go with the story. Sometimes you feel like you're doing the worst job. It's also hard to, even though feedback helps so much, sometimes it's hard to take it, and I need to take a walk and then clear my head and get back to it. So it takes a lot of time, but you do it because you love it. Let's see. Miss Holliday's third grade class in Canada was wondering why I included Sherlock Holmes in my book. And I got a lot of questions about this too. Well, when I was thinking about Stella being an investigator, about asking questions to people and trying to learn more things about them, what immediately popped into mind was Sherlock Holmes. I don't know why, and my brother loves Sherlock Holmes, and I think that's why maybe popped up. From Miss Cornfield's class in Monmouth Junction Elementary School, do you have any alebrijes from Mexico? I do. I've gotten them from my tia Maria. She has brought them over from Oaxaca, and they're beautiful. From Miss Wheatley's class, Estefana, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Did you actually fall out of your chair in class? I did, and it was super embarrassing. So, again, thinking about ways of making Stella kind of feel that way, I put that in the book. Let's see. From Mrs. Wake's third grade class in Grays Lake, Illinois, Finn was wondering if I thought about writing a story about Stanley. So you get to know Stanley more in the second book, but that's such a fun idea. Who knows, maybe I will write a book from Stanley's perspective or Jenny's perspective one day. That's a really great suggestion. From Mrs. Gell's class, in College Place Elementary in Washington State. Why didn't I translate the Spanish words to English? That's a great question. Well, it was two ideas behind that. I was thinking for bilingual students who know Spanish, it would be such a treat to see the word in Spanish and know what it is right away. The other thought is we, you know, I try to do my best job with it, and my editor, who doesn't speak Spanish, we tried to make sure that there was enough clues around it so that you could figure out what the word meant. And I thought that would be so much more fun in a way of kind of getting you to think a little bit more versus me just telling you what it is in English right away. Now, from the second and third graders in Laura and Blake's class in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan, did you want to make the books into a series at first, or the idea of a series come later? I secretly always wanted to, but I had to get the first book done and finish that first. And once I finished it, I kept thinking, oh my God, I would love to do a second one. And I approached my editor and publisher, and thankfully they said yes. And then the idea of series just kind of evolved from there. Now from our winners, Mrs. Pennington's class at Sunrise Drive in Tucson, Arizona. They were wondering if I actually attended speech classes. I did. I took it until third grade, and I remember practicing different syllables and practicing the word refrigerator, and being frustrated. And I feel bad now because I know my speech teacher was just trying to help me, but it was always a little frustrating to feel self-conscious about the way that you were speaking. But I know it really did help me be able to speak clearer. And then finally, and this relates to the last question, this is the students in St. Louis Park, Minnesota. Molly wanted to know, where did you think of the speech teacher's name? So Miss Thompson was my third grade teacher's name, and I thought, not that I really think many of my elementary school teachers are actually going to read my book, but I thought, I didn't necessarily want to put my real speech teacher's name on there. They always say it's a good idea when you're writing to change up the names a little bit. So that's it. Thank you again for your questions, and I look forward to week 3 questions, and take care. Bye.